We're taught that education is the key to success, that if you study hard, earn good grades, and get a degree, you'll unlock a life of wealth and stability. But look around. Many of the most educated people are struggling to pay bills, trapped in debt, or working jobs far below their qualifications. Meanwhile, countless self-taught individuals, entrepreneurs, creators, and investors are building fortunes without traditional degrees. So, what happened? How can people who did everything right still end up broke? The truth is, the system sold us an outdated dream. Education teaches you how to work, not how money works. It trains you to be employable, not financially independent. And in a world that rewards value creation, not just credentials, that misunderstanding is devastating. This video isn't about devaluing education. It's about exposing why knowledge alone doesn't guarantee wealth. You'll discover the 10 surprising reasons why so many educated people remain poor, and how to escape the same trap. So, if you've ever wondered why your degree hasn't given you the financial freedom you expected, stay tuned. What you're about to learn might just change the way you see money, success, and education itself. Now, let's begin with the most common reason of all, the one that schools almost never talk about. Most people spend years studying algebra, literature, and history, but almost no time learning how to manage money. That's the first and biggest reason why so many educated people are poor. They understand complex theories, but not cash flow. Think about it. You can have a master's degree in engineering or medicine and still not know how credit cards work, how to invest, or how to make money. Schools teach you how to earn a paycheck, not how to keep it, multiply it, or make it work for you. Financial education isn't about memorizing numbers. It's about understanding systems, assets, liabilities, compounding, and leverage. Rich people study these things instinctively. They see money as a tool. Educated people often see it as something you trade your time for. They chase higher salaries instead of building passive income. They save money in banks instead of learning how to invest it. They work for money their entire lives instead of letting money work for them. Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, once said, "Many people go to school to learn how to work for money, but never learn how to make money work for them." That's the silent tragedy of our education system. It creates intelligent employees, not free individuals. Without financial literacy, every degree becomes just another dependency. Because no matter how much you earn, you'll always spend in proportion to what you make, and stay trapped in the same cycle. But lack of money knowledge isn't the only reason educated people struggle. Sometimes they know everything, just not in the right field. Many educated people aren't poor because they lack ability. They're poor because the world isn't rewarding what they know. Underemployment is the silent epidemic of the educated class. Millions of degree holders are stuck in jobs that don't match their qualifications or pay them what their education promised. You see it everywhere: an engineer driving for a rideshare company, a teacher working in retail, a graduate with 2 master's degrees struggling to find full-time work. The world changes faster than universities do. By the time a student graduates, many of the skills they paid thousands to learn have already lost market value. New industries, tech, AI, digital marketing, automation, are hiring people who learned practical skills online for a fraction of the cost. Employers don't pay for what you know. They pay for the value you can create. And that's where many educated people get stuck. They believe the degree itself is the value. But in reality, the market rewards adaptation, creativity, and results, not credentials. It's painful, but true. The economy doesn't care about your grades. It cares about your impact. If you can't solve real-world problems, no diploma will protect you from financial struggle. And as automation continues to replace repetitive, knowledge-based work, the gap will only widen. The more people compete for the same traditional jobs, the less those jobs pay. Education can open doors, but it can't guarantee opportunity, especially when the world keeps changing faster than your degree can catch up. But even when educated people find jobs that match their skills, many still don't thrive financially. Why? Because they're competing in an overcrowded market where degrees have lost their scarcity. A college degree used to mean something rare, a symbol of excellence, discipline, and potential. But today, degrees are everywhere. In some countries, more than half the adult population holds one. What was once an advantage has become the baseline. This phenomenon is called credential inflation, when the number of qualified people outgrows the number of opportunities. The result? Degrees lose their economic power, and graduates find themselves competing fiercely for limited, often low-paying jobs. In the past, a bachelor's degree could land you a high-paying career. Now, it might only qualify you for an entry-level position that barely covers living expenses. Master's degrees and PhDs are increasingly required just to stand out, leading to even more debt and disappointment. And it's not just about quantity, it's about misalignment. Too many people are studying what they love, not what the market needs. Universities encourage passion, but the market rewards usefulness. The hard truth is, not all knowledge is profitable. You can major in philosophy, art history, or literature, valuable fields intellectually, but struggle financially if you can't translate those skills into demand. Meanwhile, industries like AI, data science, and software engineering can make high school graduates wealthier than PhD holders. The gap between academic achievement and financial success has never been wider. The more degrees flood the market, the less each one is worth, unless paired with entrepreneurial thinking or unique skill sets. They were trained to be excellent workers, not independent thinkers. And that brings us to the fourth reason, one that exposes the mindset holding many educated people back from ever building true wealth. Most people are trained to think like employees, not owners. Sit still, follow rules, do your work, wait for instructions. Education conditions us to obey systems rather than build them. So when graduates finally step into the real world, they naturally seek jobs, not opportunities. The problem? The modern economy doesn't reward obedience. It rewards ownership. Wealth doesn't come from working for money. It comes from creating something that makes money work for you. But the average educated person was never taught to think this way. They were taught to trade time for a salary, to depend on promotions, and to fear failure more than mediocrity.
That's why many bright minds spend their lives working hard for people who never finished college, because those people learn to take risks, build systems, and create value beyond themselves. It's not intelligence that separates the wealthy from the struggling, it's leverage. An employee's income stops when they stop working. An owner's income continues whether they're working or not. The employee mindset traps people in fear. Fear of losing a job, fear of changing paths, fear of uncertainty. Ironically, the very education that's supposed to empower them ends up limiting them. Because in the pursuit of security, they give up freedom. It's not about quitting your job overnight. It's about changing how you see yourself. The moment you stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like a creator, your entire financial life begins to shift. But their expertise often serves only a handful of clients, a single employer, or a small team. Meanwhile, the wealthiest people focus on breadth, creating systems, products, or ideas that serve millions. A teacher impacts 30 students a year. A YouTuber teaching the same subject impacts 3 million. The skill may be the same, but the reach multiplies the income. This is why expertise alone rarely creates wealth. You can be the best at what you do, but if your value doesn't scale, your income won't either. The marketplace rewards distribution, not just intelligence. Educated professionals often cling to traditional paths because that's what society taught them. Get a degree, get a job, work hard. But the modern world runs on scalability. Online businesses, digital media, automation.
One person with a laptop can now achieve what once required entire corporations. The tragedy is that most educated people have the knowledge, discipline, and skill, but they apply it in structures that limit them. They sell time, not systems. They serve one instead of many. Imagine if every doctor built a health brand, every teacher created a digital course, every engineer launched a product line. The potential for wealth is limitless, but the mindset has to shift first. So far, we've looked at mindset, structure, and opportunity. But there's another factor that keeps educated people broke: their relationship with time and reward. And that brings us to reason number 6.
Education teaches people how to minimize mistakes, not how to take smart risks. From school to university, we're rewarded for following the rules, not breaking them. We learn that failure equals punishment, not feedback. So when real life demands courage and experimentation, many educated people freeze. They seek safety instead of opportunity. But here's the truth: wealth requires risk. Every business owner, investor, or innovator you admire once made a decision that could have gone terribly wrong. The difference between them and the average graduate is that they were willing to try, fail, and learn, while others waited for permission. Educated people are trained to pursue guaranteed outcomes, stable jobs, fixed salaries, predictable schedules. But in doing so, they sacrifice the one thing that creates real wealth: leverage over time. They want success now, without understanding that financial freedom often takes years of delayed gratification. They'll save for a vacation before saving for an investment. They'll buy a car before buying an asset. The wealthy, on the other hand, think long-term. They plant seeds today for harvests years later. The irony is that the education system celebrates patience in academics, 4 years for a degree, decades for a career, but fails to teach financial patience. As a result, many educated people live in cycles of instant gratification, working for money they immediately spend to reward themselves for working. The wealthy work for compounding. But even when some educated people begin to earn well, there's another invisible trap waiting for them, one that drains their wealth faster than they can build it. And that's the trap of lifestyle and debt.
Many graduates step into adulthood already owing tens of thousands in student loans before they've even earned their first paycheck. And when they finally start earning, instead of building wealth, they begin upgrading their lifestyle. A better apartment, a new car, daily coffee runs that silently eat into their income. This is lifestyle inflation, the silent thief of wealth. The more you earn, the more you spend, believing that higher income equals progress. But as expenses rise, savings vanish, and debt quietly grows. Educated people often justify it by saying, "I deserve it, I worked hard." But the truth is, the more they reward themselves, the more they sabotage their financial growth. Even those who manage to pay off loans often fall into the next trap, comparing their success to others. Social pressure forces them to maintain appearances: nice clothes, fancy gadgets, social outings. They don't realize they're trading future freedom for temporary validation.
Meanwhile, the wealthy live by a simple rule: keep lifestyle below income and invest the difference. They use debt to acquire assets, not liabilities. A poor person takes a loan to buy a car. A rich person takes a loan to buy a business that pays for the car. Education teaches you how to earn. But unless you learn how to manage what you earn, you'll always stay in the same financial cycle. Some of it comes from forces beyond personal control, systems that shape opportunity itself. And that's where we go next. Even the most talented and educated people can find themselves trapped in economic systems that reward connections, not competence. In many parts of the world, access to wealth isn't based on education. It's based on networks, family background, or geography. Who you know can still matter more than what you know.
This is especially true in economies where opportunity is unevenly distributed. A graduate from a poor community may have the same degree as someone from a wealthy background, yet their access to funding, mentorship, and opportunities is drastically different. The playing field isn't level, it's tilted toward those already in power. In most industries, wages have stagnated while the cost of living has soared. Educated workers find themselves overqualified and underpaid,
because the value of their degree hasn't kept up with inflation. Companies outsource, automate, and downsize to cut costs, leaving workers competing globally for lower pay. And let's not forget the role of governments and policy. Education is expensive, but real-world support for entrepreneurship, innovation, or financial growth is limited. The system is designed to produce workers, not owners. It rewards compliance, not creativity.
So even when educated people do everything right, earn their degree, work hard, save responsibly, they can still end up struggling against an economy that doesn't favor individuals, but institutions. But there's a deeper danger that's even more personal than systemic barriers. Education often creates confidence, but sometimes it creates false confidence. Many degree holders subconsciously believe their qualifications make them untouchable. They see their education as a permanent safety net. I have a degree, I'll always find work. But that illusion shatters the moment the market shifts. Automation rises, or industries evolve faster than expected.
This false sense of security breeds complacency.
Educated people may stop learning after graduation, assuming they've made it. They stop updating skills, stop exploring new income streams, and stop adapting, while the world races ahead. Meanwhile, those without formal degrees often overcompensate by learning continuously. They stay hungry, flexible, and open to change, and that hunger gives them an edge that education alone can't match. The tragic part? Many educated people look down on jobs or opportunities they consider beneath them. They'd rather wait for the perfect role than start something imperfect that could grow. That pride keeps them stuck and broke. In a fast-changing economy, knowledge expires. What made you valuable yesterday might make you replaceable tomorrow. The truly wealthy treat education as an ongoing process, not a one-time achievement. Having a degree is an accomplishment. Believing it guarantees success is a mistake.
But even for those who stay humble and keep learning, there's one last reason so many still struggle. Perhaps the most overlooked, it's not about intelligence, systems, or mindset. It's about alignment. Let's talk about that next. The final reason many educated people remain poor is simple. What they learned doesn't always create value in the real world. Our education system is designed around memorization, theory, and tradition. It rewards accuracy, not creativity. It teaches students how to pass exams, not how to solve problems. As a result, many people graduate highly skilled in subjects that don't translate into tangible, marketable outcomes. In today's world, value equals income. If what you know doesn't solve problems, improve lives, or generate results, it's worth little outside the classroom. This isn't about intelligence, it's about application. The world doesn't pay for what you know, it pays for what you can do with what you know. You could be a brilliant economist and still be broke if you never learn to apply your insights to real markets. You could be a talented designer, yet struggle financially if you don't understand how to turn your art into business. The wealthiest people bridge that gap between knowledge and execution. They take what they learn, formally or informally, and turn it into products, services, and solutions. Education should have been the foundation for this kind of thinking. But in most cases, it ends up being the ceiling. Because the system never taught students how to monetize their skills, only how to use them in service of someone else's dream. So while millions chase degrees, only a few chase relevance.
And that's why, in a world overflowing with intelligence, wealth still flows to those who understand how to turn it into impact. But here's the thing, this doesn't have to be the end of the story. Because education is a tool, not a ticket. It can open doors, but it can't guarantee what's behind them. The truth is, intelligence alone won't make you rich. Degrees won't protect you from economic shifts. And talent without execution is just potential waiting to die. The people who rise above the system are the ones who combine knowledge with action. They learn how money works. They take smart risks. They build assets instead of chasing promotions.
You don't need to abandon education. You need to expand it. Read books about money. Learn skills the market actually needs. Start projects. Fail fast. Build again. That's where true wealth begins, in the courage to create instead of just consume. The 9-to-5 worker with a master's degree and the entrepreneur with no diploma live in different worlds,
Not because of intelligence, but because of perspective. One follows systems, the other builds them. So the question isn't how educated you are, it's how useful your education is. Are you learning to serve someone else's dream or to create your own? If this video gave you a new perspective, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Because education should make you powerful, not poor.